What about the documents?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have a couple of scanners. We have the regular flatbed scanner, which can scan documents, maps, and images, and then the slides, which scan the slides one at a time. Some flatbed scanners have a light strip right here, and you can take this thing out, and they can scan the row slides or row negatives as well. And it's just tricky because they're always touching the flat bed of it. When you're dealing with most documents, you want to handle everything on the edges, of course, so as not to get oils of your fingers on them. Lots of archivists and museum caretakers wear white gloves, which I highly recommend. I use it for my own stuff, my own work. And it's pretty simple. Once you get everything plugged in and everything comes with instructions, just lay it down on the scanner, close it, and then press a couple buttons.
Yeah. Most scanners have different modes for scanning your material, and it's always important to, what we have here is a black and white image, so I'm going to change it from color to grayscale because it'll produce a richer image. Resolution, your basic resolution is 300 dpi or dots per inch. What images you see on the web are 72 dpi, which is very low resolution. It doesn't look good if you copy it and try to put it into a document to reproduce it. It comes out on the printer really pixelated looking. And so instead, I always encourage people to scan things at a minimum of 300 dpi. With your family images, I know from personal experience, my dad has been documenting our family photographs for over 2 years now. And I sat down with him and I insisted that he had to scan everything at 600 dpi just because the images, and he listened to me, oddly enough, but the images are older. And so there's an aging process that has already taken place with them. So you have to scan them at a higher resolution to preserve everything that still exists in that image and on that photographic paper. So I'm going to change this to 600 dpi. And you can go all the way up to 1200 dpi, and I'm going to go ahead and preview it first. So it'll come up in a moment. And you may want to do that as well. If you are able to invest in software like Adobe Photoshop, there is a really wonderful function whereby you can put any number of photographs that will fit on your flatbed scanner and scan them all and open it in Photoshop, and it will turn them so that they are level and square, or whatever size they are, and then it will make individual files of each of them. It recognizes that they're individual images, and it is so awesome. I'm a big fan of Adobe Creative Suite, which has Photoshop and Adobe Acrobat, which we use to scan paper if you're making PDFs of like letters and personal diaries and things like that. And it also has a web publisher and various other software in the package. So that's why I'm a big advocate.
It's a huge time saver, and that's a big thing when you have a lot of stuff.
Yes.
For example, our archive has stuff that's going to take us years and years and years to make digital and make available. It's a huge time saver, so whatever you can do with that. And a lot of times, what you have may not last much longer, so you want to get it done as quickly as possible.
Definitely. Okay, so the image has come up, and I'm going to just create a box around it. Because there's really no need to scan all that dead space. And just put the scan button. And it brings up and wants to know what kind of image that I want to scan it as. I highly recommend that you save all pictures as TIFF files, .tif. rather than JPEGs. Every time you open a JPEG file, a little bit of the information in that file is lost. TIFF files are the most stable image files. So click on TIFF and tell it to go ahead and scan it, and we'll do that. It's a slow process. I'm a stickler for looking at things and making sure it's exactly what I want and getting just the image scanned. Some people skip the preview process, and that's fine. It's all about how much time you have to spend on this project. And if you want to go back later and do your image editing and things like that, then it's a matter of personal preference. And there it is. And it's an image from the 1927 flood. I think there's more caption with it. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, what I would do is save it as a TIFF, and that would be like your file that you keep safe. And then if you ever have to email it, you can open or make a copy, open it up, and save it as a JPEG to send it. Yeah,
they're smaller files.
Yeah.
And in an email, you know, typically what you're sending out through an email, you don't need to have that high quality image. TIFFs don't typically email well because they are larger files, because all of the image information is contained within that file. Okay, does anybody have any slides that they'd like to preserve?
At home, not necessarily here.
No? Yeah. Or just bring them over to us, we'll scan them for you.
And slides, because they're physically smaller, I usually scan them at a higher resolution, sometimes up to 2400 DPI. And DPI is dots per inch, and it's the number of little pixels per inch of thing. Medium.
And our scanner comes with its own software interface, which is what I'm using. And I always hit the preview on this because you can do adjustments to the image with the color balance and things like that. So that when